Welcome to the Escapism channel. I'm your host Terrelle. Thank you for clicking on this video. If you're new here and you end up enjoying the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any future content. And if you're a returning subscriber clicking on the video, thank you again. Let's talk about Dragon Ball Z Sparking Zero. I want to get straight into this. I've been playing Dragon Ball Z Sparking Zero since 11 p.m. on Monday night. Obviously not continuously, but I first started playing it on 11 p.m. Monday night this week when the early access went live. I bought the deluxe edition. Rarely do I buy premium digital editions of video games, but I thought for this game, it's required because I'll get the season pass with it, but not only that, I want to play this game as soon as possible. And I bought it, been playing it since Monday. I want to give my first impressions for the game right now because I think I want to play it a lot longer and have a more extensive playthrough of the game before I give a full detailed review on it. But I want to give my first impressions because I have so much to say and it's mostly all positive. And I'll say I think at this current time, I've put in about 7 hours game time on this game. And I want to say to you right now, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero is a must play for any fan of Dragon Ball Z or the Dragon Ball franchise as a whole. If you're a fan of Dragon Ball in any way, you owe it to yourself to pick up this game and play it because it's actually quite hard to put it into words how unbelievable this game is, especially if you're a fan. And it's actually very fitting that this game, which appears to be almost a near perfect celebration of the franchise as a whole, is the first video game we get out of the franchise since Akira Toriyama's unfortunate passing earlier this year. It's really, really fitting and it's a beautiful thing and the game's amazing. And, if you're like myself who grew up playing Budokai Tenkaichi series and Budokai Tenkaichi 1, 2, 3, even the original Budokai games. If you grew up playing those games on PS2, you know what it means, this type of Dragon Ball game and how big and monumental those games were to the childhood of many fans, how it introduced many people to the story, those that couldn't catch up on the anime, how we had all those kind of those battles. And this, of course, is the sequel, the long-awaited, it's taken 17 years sequel to Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3, which came out in 2007, way back in 2007, way before video game multiplayer was fully established like it is today. It was in the early phases of online play. Back on PS2, I never played online at all. And now here we are with Dragon Ball Z Sparking Zero, and yeah, it delivered. That's what I could say. First impressions, it delivered. Let me tell you about why. Now, this game has enough depth that it could keep you playing for years on end. And that's something that I really appreciate because this game manages to maintain in this modern era, in the year 2024, it manages to maintain the essence of the video game experience that we grew up loving when we were younger in the 2000s, and how it does that is in many ways, one of them being through the huge roster, which nowadays that's less of an expectation. It's more of a wish when you come to play games, especially fighting games. They usually skimp out on the roster, give you a small amount of playable characters to begin with, no unlockables, and then they just expect you to pay via DLC and microtransactions for the rest. That's not the case here, thankfully. And as far as I'm aware, the throughout the wide variety of the roster in this game, the majority, if not all, of the different variants you get for each character all have like unique abilities. Not in terms of the initial move set, but in terms of their special abilities, all unique as far as I'm aware. If not, then it's very close to all of them being unique, which is impressive in itself. The roster is over, I want to say 180 characters, I believe. And one thing I really love about this game, which, like I said, it kind of brings back that old school aspect of video games, especially in fighting games, is the characters aren't stuck behind a paywall, like I said, and the whole day one roster can be unlocked through gameplay, which it sounds like, some crazy talk I'm talking, but yeah, you can actually unlock the characters through gameplay, and that's so fun because that's part of the engaging gameplay loop is, oh, I want to unlock this character. Let me level up my player level and unlock the currency so I can buy the players in game. And luckily, and this I gotta give a lot of credit to this because in this day and age, like I said, it can sometimes be overdone and done poorly by developers. They have a knack for that. And as far as it is at the moment, so the game officially launches tomorrow. It's been in early access at this current time, so they haven't patched it anything or changed anything yet, but at this current time, there's no egregious microtransactions in this game. You get an acceptable amount of currency per battle. You know, some battles you'll get a little bit more currency. I think your base currency you'll get for like a player versus computer battle, just in an arcade kind of sense, you'll get 1,000 of the currency, which isn't a huge amount, but it's enough. It's still a welcome amount. And then through doing the extra modes, which I'll go into a bit later, you can earn more. And then there's a hell of ton of challenges that you can do in this game, which will unlock you more unlockables like titles, um, outfits, extra currency on top. You can unlock the Dragon Balls, which once you get all of those, you can summon Shenron and get a wish, which could either be to upgrade your level a bit more, to get more currency, to unlock an outfit. And then you've got the shop, which basically includes all the characters that are locked. And as you level up, you unlock those characters in the store so that they're available to purchase. And you've got your abilities in there as well, outfits in there, music tracks in there. So it really does retain that old school feel of a fighting game where you get a fighting game, you're excited to play it, and you're excited to earn things. You know, because some fighting games now, and I think um it's a bit underwhelming when I get a fighting game nowadays if you buy one and all the characters that are there, which isn't much in the first place, are already unlocked and there isn't much else to unlock with it. And it's like, well, you know, of course I'm enjoying the gameplay of the fighting game, but what else am I playing for? Give me some extra stuff to kind of work towards. And this game absolutely has that, which I'm very, very happy. The gameplay itself is excellent. The visuals excellent. It recreates the characters, the locations fantastically. The destruction graphics and the physics of that and how that works is great. Really immerses you into the world. The gameplay is lightning fast, super responsive, and it makes the fights, whether you're playing them or even spectating them online, extremely exciting. One negative I can give is in terms of the online play, whether it be ranked or unranked, the spectator mode is fine, but I think we've seen a better evolution of that through other games. If you look at games like Street Fighter, the latest Street Fighter game that had a much better kind of spectator mode that kind of let you see the kind of level of spectator mode that every fighting game should aspire to. This game kind of falls short of that. So that's just one kind of critique. But in general, the gameplay is excellent. And one thing that I would say is that really surprised me with this game is it's much more in depth gameplay wise than I thought it was. And if you're playing any of the single player modes, it's actually surprisingly more challenging than I thought it would be. And I've seen others echo the same sentiment. And I think what it is there's so many different factors to the gameplay. And I love this about it because it means that it actually requires mastering. You know, you'll be very rare or you'll be very lucky to pick up and play this game and just be great at it straight away. It actually takes you to, you know, you need to it requires you to master the individual mechanics of it. And there's a lot to it in terms of that. You've got kind of your rush attacks and your rush abilities. You've got your skill meter. You know, you've got your Kai abilities. Um, there's a whole lot of it really actually to go into depth with it. You got your defensive abilities, and the biggest criticism I have of this game is actually the tutorial because the tutorial isn't as great as it ought to be, and that's a real shame. And one of the real reasons why the tutorial's not that great, and once again, I'll use Street Fighter as an example, and even the most latest Mortal Kombat game, is they really kind of started to evolve what a tutorial could be in terms of how it teaches you combos, how it teaches you the mechanics, and how easy and accessible it is to kind of learn what you want to learn. This tutorial feels quite primitive in this game in terms of the flow of it's really bad. It's a pain to navigate. You've got to manually select every individual mechanic slash move in a menu to learn it instead of it flowing naturally. Like how it should be is if you select a category of moves and you've got like a list of 10 moves to learn, it should be that you click on the first one, you learn the move, success comes up on the screen. Now you have the option to just click one button and move straight on to the next one. But in this case, you've got to hit the pause button. You then got to go into the menu and go back to the menu and then manually select the next one. And I just think it doesn't flow that well. It's not like a user-friendly tutorial. I think that could do with a lot of work. And if there is one criticism I have of this game, it is the tutorial's not as great as it need to be. It does essentially teach you the mechanics. So it does do that job. But I just think the whole experience of using the tutorial, I think it could have been done better and improved better. And I think that would have helped people kind of learn the game a bit better, and give that part of the experience kind of a better feel, essentially. In terms of the game modes in the game, so you have, let me just say before I move forward, actually. So I've been really focusing on playing as Trunks, future Trunks, different variations of future Trunks when he made his first arrival against Frieza. That's one of the characters I've been using the most. And then of the legendary Super Saiyan Broly from the movie, not the super version, from the movie, from the original Dragon Ball Z movie. Um, I've been using him a lot, and then I've kind of been just dibbling dabbling through a couple of other players. I've surprisingly, outside of the story, I've not touched Goku at all, not touched Vegeta at all. So I've only been stuck on those few players, really trying to master them first, and that's where I started to realize the depth that this game holds because in all my 7 hours, I've mainly focused on just a few characters really and trying to master them. And then I think, oh my God, I've got, another 177 other variants and characters to play about with and master them and unlock stuff for them. And it's really exciting because I'm thinking, man, this is where I say like this game has years worth of content within it. And I'm really excited to just delve into it over the next few years and really master it, take it online properly. I've played a few matches online. I think I've won a couple, lost a few. But I'm not ready yet. I know I'm not ready yet, and that's fine because I want to go back in, train. I haven't fully learned all the mechanics of the game yet. I want to train, learn, and master the mechanics of the game even more, then kind of master some of my main characters I want to go with, like future Trunks, and then take it back online. And I think that's an element that's really exciting about this game is we've never had a Budokai Tenkaichi game in an era where we have like the online multiplayer that we have now. So it's like what used to be, playing with your friends or in my case, my cousins and stuff on PS2, with the two controllers hooked up. Now we could take it online against the world. And that's just really exciting and really fun. And sitting in the rooms, you can have your rooms for online, sitting in the rooms and playing and spectating. That in itself is just really fun. I haven't played against anyone I know yet. Personally, because some of my friends and my cousins haven't got the game yet, but I can already just get a feel for it just from the experiences I've had online already. That once you do get into those rooms and can just spectate, it's going to be a real blast, and I can't wait to kind of dive into that more. In terms of the mode, the game's chock full of modes, which I'm really happy about because that's one thing I think, one thing that really puts me off a fighting game is when the modes are very scarce. But here you've got a lot. So you've got your standard battle mode. Of course, you've got your online ranked and unranked play. You also have the episodic modes. So that's essentially your story mode. So that runs through the story of Dragon Ball Z. It does include Super as well. So I think this is the first time Dragon Ball Super is included in the video game, which is good. But what I thought at first, I thought, well, this is going to be quite short because it was like from Goku and you just go through it and it kind of jumps. It doesn't do every battle. So it jumps through the storyline and very selective over the battles that you show. There isn't really cutscenes within the game. It's like storyboarded kind of graphics with text that kind of tell you the story. I thought, well, this is going to be quite short. And then I realized you have the different perspectives. So you have different character perspectives of the story. So there's actually, if you want to count that as like one story mode or one chunk of story mode, there's at least like five other ones where you can play as Vegeta. I think there's a Gohan one, and there's a few other characters, Piccolo maybe, and you get to see the story from their perspective, which is really cool. So there's a lot of depth in that mode in itself. You have another mode where you can actually create what if scenarios, basically, which is really cool because this will help the longevity of the game and keep it fresh. Is you can essentially create your own battle scenarios and create your own kind of stories really around these battle scenarios that you can create in the game. And there's just a surprising amount of depth to that, more than I expected. Like it's not super complex. It's not like playing Little Big Planet or having like a proper, in-game editing creator suite. But there's still a lot to it where you can kind of set up a scenario and even set different parables and different variations of what can happen and what's allowed to happen in these fights and kind of direct a story through the battle. And then you can post it online and share it for other players to play and rate, which is really cool. And you can obviously play other people's created scenarios. And I think that's really cool because you can kind of really tap into your mind and your imagination and think, oh, what have I always wanted to see? What are the matchups I've always wanted to see in Dragon Ball? And you can kind of create that yourself and allow other people to play, which I think is a really good thing. And then, as I said, you got lots of challenges in the game as well, lots of unlockable. So there's a lot of things to focus on in that regard. I think there's one mode that's slipping my mind. I think there's one other mode that's slipping my mind that I can't think of to speak about. But hey, I'll touch upon that in my full review. But that's my thoughts. I thought it was going to be quicker than this, but I had so much to say already. And you know, if I'm saying all this after just 7 hours, like you know the game's got a lot in it, but all I will say is Dragon Ball Sparking Zero must play if you're a fan of the franchise. Must play. Absolutely worth your money. Get on it. Like this is one of the games of the year easily. This probably going to be fighting game of the year. I mean, I know Tekken was real good this year, but hey, they did not disappoint with this game. And this is only my first impressions. I'll give a much more concise review with some gameplay clips when I do my review. I don't know when that's going to come because I want to just take my time and really play this game before I review it. So it might even be a couple months before I actually do the full review, but I want to get my thoughts out now. First impressions for those of you that may be on the fence or just wanted to hear my thoughts on it. But I'm loving the game so far, having a blast. Get in the comments. Let me know if you're going to get this game. If you're a fan of Dragon Ball, what's your favorite saga? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. And if you are getting the game actually and want to play online, let me know because I'll drop my PSN and we can link up online and play. Because yeah, I can see myself playing this game for years on end. I'm really glad that it's turned out as good as it is. But yeah, thank you for watching this video. Hit the like button, please. That'll help the channel and that'll help me. And if you're new here and you enjoyed this video and you want to see more content, hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. Thank you. Have a good day. Take care. I'll catch you guys in the next video.